What's going on, guys? Aero here, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about one of my most anticipated Nintendo Switch games that comes out just next month, and of course I'm talking about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And so just when we thought that the Nintendo Switch wasn't going to have that insane of a year in 2020, Nintendo decided to come out of nowhere like they always do and show a brand new Zelda game, showing that they're still keeping up with their tradition of releasing a brand new Zelda game every single year since the Nintendo Switch. And so yeah, in 2020 we're going to have a brand new game called Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which takes place 100 years before the events of Breath of the Wild, and it looks really good. And so while I'm super excited about this game, there have been some people that I've seen that have mixed opinions on how they feel about it. And so that's why in this video, I want to talk to you guys about the top 10 reasons why you shouldn't sleep on Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and why you should be excited to play this game. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so starting off this list at number 10 is going to be the music, and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is definitely one of the best soundtracks that Nintendo has put into one of their video games. There's so many people that I know that say that Breath of the Wild soundtrack is just amazing, and I really can't disagree with any of these people. So many people I know have said this. A lot of even critics acclaim that Breath of the Wild soundtrack is just phenomenal. There's so many good music tracks, and I'm sure I'm probably going to have many of them playing throughout this video. And the thing is, of course, now with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity also taking place in Breath of the Wild Hyrule World, you already know that there's probably going to be some amazing music inside of this game as well, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they decide to remix some of the music for like certain locations that are also going to be in Breath of the Wild, because it's the same locations inside of this game. So that would be really cool. Like, imagine if we got like a Guardian theme remix or something like that. It could be really good, but either way, Zelda music is pretty much always really good, so I'm sure the music in this game is definitely going to be one reason to get very excited. Coming in at number 9 are going to be the graphics of this game. Now, the day that this game was announced, I actually woke up a little bit later, so I just woke up, went on Twitter, and I saw that Nintendo put up a tweet that said a brand new Hyrule Warriors game that takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild. And so that was just a tweet that I saw. I didn't see any gameplay or anything like that, and I remember thinking to myself, I was like, would that even work? Like, would it really even look that good? Because I remembered what I thought of Hyrule Warriors, and that game looks pretty good, but to have that type of game take place 100 years before Breath of the Wild and have it be focused in that, I was kind of worried as to how the game was gonna look. But then I saw like the actual reveal trailer with the gameplay and everything, and I was like, this game looks freaking beautiful, man. My favorite part is literally how they tried to keep exactly this game looking to Breath of the Wild as they could, and they even talk about it in the video where they talk like how the Zelda team that's actually working on Breath of the Wild 2, like the mainline Zelda team, worked really closely with Koei Tecmo to make sure that this game looks exactly like Breath of the Wild, and it has the similar art style. And I would argue that it looks even better to some extent, because this isn't like an expansive huge game like Breath of the Wild. It's more like a focused game that's more focused around the gameplay. So because of that, they can make the character models and characters look even more cleaner. So like if we take a look at a picture of Zelda from Breath of the Wild and then a picture of Zelda from Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, they both look really good, but I think that even in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, Zelda looks a little more crisp and a little more nicer. So who knows? I think that the graphics in this game are actually going to be much better, and they're definitely going to be something to look forward to, because it's going to be very colorful and it's still going to keep that same art style that Breath of the Wild has that everyone loves. The next thing that we have here is how this Zelda game is going to be a trilogy. So once we got the announcement of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, it pretty much locked an entire trilogy of stories that's going to happen with this entire Zelda collection. And that's going to be so cool, because we're going to have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which is like a game that takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild, before the Calamity Ganon attacked the first time. So you got that game. Then you got Breath of the Wild as its like standalone game that happens after that. And then we also know that there's going to be a brand new game that they're working on, which is going to be the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So you're going to have all three of these games that are going to be on the Nintendo Switch. It's going to be a whole collection, and just to have the entire story in all ways, it's just going to be very exciting, and a really cool reason, because I don't really think that there's any Zelda game that has ever done anything like this, where it's like an entire trilogy collection of an entire story based around one event. So it's just going to be really cool. Coming in at number 7 are going to be the restored areas, and if you guys have played Breath of the Wild, I'm sure a lot of you had noticed that many of the areas inside of that game were broken down and kind of damaged because of the attack by Calamity Ganon. But the thing is, because of how Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity takes place 100 years before, you're actually going to get to see a lot of these locations and how they looked before. You're also going to sadly have to see how these locations get destroyed, but you're also going to get to just have an idea of how they looked before, and that's going to be really nice. In fact, in one of the new gameplay footage scenes that we got to see a couple days ago, people even discovered that there's actually going to be footage of the attack that happened on Lon Lon Ranch, so you're going to see what's going to happen there. So it's just going to be kind of sad to see how all of these areas that you really kind of saw that were damaged in Breath of the Wild, how they actually got damaged from the attacks that happened inside of this game. Coming in at number 6 is going to be the gameplay, and this is definitely one part that I'm actually looking forward to a lot. I know there have been some people that have said that they're not really fans of the Warriors games types of gameplay, where you're just one character and you have to take on like hundreds of enemies, but the thing about this game is that I'm actually thinking that they're trying really hard to make the combat of this game as similar to Breath of the Wild as possible. Like, you can even see like that the way that you set up characters on the setup screen looks very similar to Breath of the Wild. You even have the same types of weapons to choose from, and you can even do the same types of techniques like shield sliding inside of Breath of the Wild that you can also do inside of this game. So it really does seem like they're trying to make it as similar to Breath of the Wild as possible, and I really do think that even if you don't find the Warriors types of games with gameplay all that interesting, I think that even in this game, if you enjoy Breath of the Wild's combat and just going through that world, you're probably still going to have a lot of fun here. Coming in at number 5 is going to be the ending of this game. Now, if you've played Breath of the Wild, I'm sure a lot of you guys know about the events that happened 100 years in the past. You learn about these events through memories as you're playing as Link throughout the game. But the thing is, now you're going to have to live through these events and the ending, and it's just going to be really crazy to see it all come together. Of course, it's going to be very unfortunate because you know now what's going to happen. Of course, Link is going to fall. You know that all of the champion friends that he has are going to pass away, but it's just going to be really crazy to see the full context about what goes down and exactly how it happens. Coming in at number 4 are going to be potential references to Breath of the Wild 2. Now, of course, we're not going to know if this happens until Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, but I think that it's very possible that this game could have some references or hints or anything that relates to Breath of the Wild 2. I've mentioned before how they did say that Koei Tecmo is working very closely with the mainline Zelda team as they're working on this game, so it really does seem like to me like maybe they could have put in something in here that we're going to learn more context about within Breath of the Wild 2, or maybe there's even going to be something in Breath of the Wild 2 that's going to have like a little Easter egg or some context that's going to be within this game. So I really feel like in order to get like the full picture of everything that's going to happen within the Zelda trilogy, it's definitely going to be important to make sure that you know everything that happens in this game, and so that you learn about all the little secrets that are in this game as well. Coming in at number 3 are the relationships between all of these characters, and this is definitely one of the most exciting things that I'm looking forward to, where the thing is we don't actually have a big idea of how Link and all these characters got along and how they interacted because of Breath of the Wild, and we only kind of just get little glimpses of it through the memories that are in Breath of the Wild. But now that we finally have this game taking place before Breath of the Wild, we're gonna get the full context, and it's just gonna be really nice to see how all of these characters get along with each other. Like, the thing is, like, we kind of just had little glimpses with Link and each character, like how Link and Mipha had a memory together, and how Link and Rivali had one, and how Link and Daruk had one, but we don't really know about how the characters got along with each other. So now we're probably gonna see some interactions between like Rivali and Mipha, for example, and Zelda and Daruk, and so it's just gonna be really nice to see how all these characters talk with each other and their interactions between them. Coming in at number 2 is the fact that we finally have playable champions inside of this game. And I remember when they showed off the Breath of the Wild DLC for the first time, and once we learned that the second pack was going to be more story focused and it was going to be called the Champions Ballad, once I saw that advertisement with like a picture of Zelda on there and a picture of all the champions, everybody, and I know everybody including myself, was really hoping for the fact that we were going to see playable Zelda inside of Breath of the Wild, that it was going to be either playable champions too with like Daruk, Rivali, Mipha, and Urbosa, but unfortunately that didn't happen in the game, and that was just like one thing that everybody felt was a missed opportunity, but now we finally do get to do that, where we're gonna get to play as all these champions and use all their crazy movesets while we're taking down all these enemies. So it's just gonna be really cool because there's definitely some cool movesets. I can't wait to play as Urbosa and use like lightning strikes on all the enemies. It's just gonna be a ton of fun. And finally, coming in at number 1, the biggest reason that you should be excited to play Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is because of the new story. I mean, we know for a fact now that this game is going to have an entirely new story that takes place 100 years before the events of Breath of the Wild, and that's just going to be so insane to see. We're going to see Calamity Ganon come for the first time, how that all unfolds, how the attacks happen, how the characters prepare for it, what they try to do, what their ideas are, their interactions. It's all going to come together, and it's just going to be the best part about this game. And that's why I feel like even if you don't really care that much about the gameplay of this game, even if you don't care about all of that, the reason to get this game isn't really for the fact that it's going to have Hyrule Warriors types of gameplay, but rather that you should get this game to kind of just learn and get the full context and the full picture about everything that's going to happen before Breath of the Wild, right before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out eventually as well. And so there you go, guys. Those are my top 10 reasons for why you should be excited to play Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity next month. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to click that like button and also comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this. How do you guys feel about this game? Are you just as excited as I am? Are you going to be picking the game up? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Zelda content in the future, so definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.